"You're done here, Wade." Landon didn't look up from his phone when he said it. Just scrolled, probably Instagram. The termination letter sat in front of my chair, already printed. They knew I'd be on time. 22 years. This is how it ends. I'm Wade Calloway, 52 years old. Used to be Chief Security Architect at Ainsworth Global Security. Used to be. The boardroom was cold that morning. Glass walls, polished table, expensive chairs. Landon's uncle, Clifford Ainsworth, the CEO, sat to his right, arms folded. Wouldn't meet my eyes. 22 years I'd worked for this company. The man couldn't even look at me. "This is effective immediately," Landon said, still on his phone. "We're restructuring for younger talent. Your mindset is legacy. Legacy. That's what they call experience now." I didn't say anything. Navy taught me to stay calm when things go sideways. Emotional men make mistakes. Patient men win wars. So I sat there, hands flat on the table. The leadership summit yesterday, Landon finally put his phone down. "Your absence was noted. We need team players, Wade, people who prioritize culture." The leadership summit, mandatory all-day event about synergy and disruption. I'd missed it because I was at County General with my wife Diane. She'd had another episode. Doctors wanted tests. But I guess that doesn't count when you're 52 and the CEO's 30-year-old nephew decides you're obsolete. I sent an email. I said, "Family emergency." "We received it," Clifford spoke, voice flat, professional, a man who'd already decided. "But these events are non-negotiable, Wade. Part of our New Culture Initiative." New Culture Initiative. Translation: Landon wants worship. I looked at the termination letter. 2 pages, legal language. No thank you for 2 decades. No mention of the security platform I'd built from scratch, the one protecting $1.2 billion in assets across 40 countries. Just, employment terminated. Return credentials by end of business today. 3 other executives sat silent. Years of working together. Now they stared at laptops like the screens might save them. "Where do I sign?" I asked. Landon smirked. "That's it? No argument? Would it change anything?" "No." "Then where do I sign?" I signed. Took my copy. Stood. The chair scraped loud in the silence. At the door, Landon's voice followed me. "Don't take this personally, Wade. It's just business. We're pivoting to AI native talent." AI native talent. Kid barely knew Excel. I walked out. Didn't look back. Down the hallway past cubicles where keyboards suddenly got fascinating. Past the break room where I'd drunk 10,000 cups of bad coffee. To my desk. Monitor already locked. Access revoked in bold letters. I packed slow. 22 years fits into one cardboard box. Photos of Diane and our daughter Claire. A coffee mug from my 20th anniversary, back when they pretended loyalty mattered. My Navy challenge coin. The envelope was pre-packed by HR. Severance details. Cobra insurance. Diane needed that insurance. Treatments weren't cheap. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hospital cafeteria. 20 minutes. Vic. Vic Sullivan. Hadn't heard from him in a year, not since he retired with his golden parachute after 25 years as COO. Vic was old school, Navy, like me. Different years, different wars, but sailors recognize each other. I looked at the text, at the box on my desk, at the monitor showing access revoked. 22 years. Gone because I chose my wife over Landon's ego party. I picked up the box and walked out. Whispers followed. They fired Wade? He skipped the summit. Brutal. The elevator doors closed. My reflection stared back from polished steel. Gray hair, lines around my eyes, 52 and starting over. But here's what they didn't know. What only Vic and I knew. I wasn't starting over. I was starting up. Because 18 months ago, Vic and I had set something in motion. Something Landon's arrogance just activated. Something that would cost Ainsworth Global exactly $940 million. The elevator hit ground floor. Doors opened. I walked into morning sun carrying my box. Vic used to say, "Navy taught me 2 things, Wade. Document everything. Trust nothing." I documented everything. And I'd stopped trusting Clifford Ainsworth 18 months ago, right when he promoted his idiot nephew over 3 qualified candidates. Phone buzzed again. Cafeteria. Now. You'll want to hear this. Yeah, Vic. I did. The hospital cafeteria smelled like industrial coffee and anxiety. Vic sat in the back corner, same spot always. Back to wall, clear view of exits, old habits. He didn't stand when I walked up, just nodded at the empty chair. You look terrible, he said. Just got fired. I know. Heard 10 minutes after you walked into that boardroom. He slid a folder across the table. Plain manila, no labels. They're idiots. I sat. Put my box on the floor. You didn't call me to say that. No. Vic leaned back. 62, gray hair, military short, still fit. Retired a year ago with full benefits and a consulting contract they never used. Smart. Got out before Landon could push him. What they just did, that termination, it triggered something. The trust. The trust. He tapped the folder. Open it. Legal papers. Stuff I'd signed 18 months ago, buried in routine IP paperwork. Vic made me review it late one night. I trusted him. Navy guys look out for each other. Callaway Security Holdings, I read. An LLC under Delaware law, owned by an irrevocable trust. You're the sole beneficiary. I kept reading. Dense language, clear meaning. Every patent I'd filed, every line of code, every security protocol. All mine, not Ainsworth Global's, as long as one condition was met. If terminated without cause, I read aloud, all intellectual property rights transfer immediately to beneficiary. Keep reading. I did. The security platform, currently running Ainsworth's entire network across 40 countries, protecting $1.2 billion in assets, worth, according to the independent valuation, approximately $940 million. This says I own it. You do. As of 9:15 this morning, when Landon handed you that letter, Vic showed me his phone screen. And at 9:47, every licensing agreement Ainsworth Global has just expired. System alert, red text, deployment license expired. Contact Callaway Security Holdings for renewal. They don't know yet, Vic said. Won't know until they try to push an update or bring a new client online. Give it 2, maybe 3 hours. I sat back. This was real. You set this up 18 months ago. I saw Landon coming. Kid's an idiot, but he's Clifford's nephew. Blood beats brains in family companies. Vic's jaw tightened. I spent 25 years building Ainsworth Global. Wasn't letting some entitled punk destroy it. So you protected me. I protected the company. You just happened to be the one who built what matters. He leaned forward. Look, Wade, I know your situation. Diane's bills, Claire's tuition. You need insurance, stability. Here's how this works. He pulled out another paper, an offer letter. Ainsworth's going to panic, already is. They'll call, threaten, maybe sue, but they can't. Trust is ironclad. 3 law firms reviewed it. What do I do? Wait, let them squirm. Let them realize what they lost. Vic smiled. Cold. Then, when they're ready to beg, you negotiate. For what? Whatever you want. Reinstatement, back pay, hell, Landon's job if you pushed. I thought about that. Landon scrolling his phone. Clifford refusing eye contact. 22 years thrown out because I chose my wife over their theater. I don't want back in, I said. Vic raised an eyebrow. No? No. I closed the folder. You said this platform's worth $940 million. That's Ainsworth's valuation. What's it worth to competitors? Now Vic really smiled. That's the question, isn't it? You have names, I said. 3. Vic slid another paper across. Apex Cybersecurity is the big one. They've been trying to break into defense sector for 5 years. Can't because Ainsworth has government contracts locked up. He tapped the paper. They'd pay good money for your platform. Very good money. I looked at the number. Not $940 million more. This is real, preliminary offer, based on public filings when patents were submitted. They don't know you're available yet. Vic checked his watch. But they will. I'm making a call in an hour. By tomorrow morning, every major security firm in the country knows Wade Callaway's platform is on the market. Clifford will counteroffer. He will. You'll listen, but you won't accept. Vic's eyes were hard. Men like Clifford Ainsworth, men who let idiot nephews fire good people for bad reasons, they don't deserve second chances. I sat quiet. Upstairs, Diane was probably sleeping. Tests would take hours. Claire had texted this morning about textbooks next semester. Severance would cover maybe 3 months if we were careful. or I could do this. One question, I said. Shoot. Why? You retired. Got your payout. Why risk this for me? Vic was quiet. When he spoke, his voice was different, softer. Because 30 years ago, I was you. Young sailor, fresh out trying to make it in. Corporate. Someone gave me a shot. Taught me the game. He stood, picked up his coffee. And because Landon Ainsworth represents everything I hate, entitled, incompetent, arrogant, men like him destroy what men like us build. He held out his hand. So, yeah, Wade, let's burn it down. Build something better. I shook his hand. The patent filings, I said. When did they go through? 18 months ago. Same time as the trust. Vic grinned. Think Landon checked the patent database before he fired you? No, neither do I. My phone buzzed. Diane, test's done. Can you pick me up? I stood, grabbed my box. I'll call tonight, I told Vic. Take your time. Ainsworth Global isn't going anywhere, he paused. Well, actually, straight into the ground. But slowly. I walked out feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. The kind that wants payback. They wanted to call me legacy, obsolete, AI native talent. Fine. Let's see how their AI handles what comes next. The panic started at 2:47 that afternoon. I was in my garage, organizing tools, when my work phone rang. I figured they'd cut it off by now. Nope. Clifford Ainsworth. 5 calls in 10 minutes. I let them go to voicemail. Text from Clifford. Wade, emergency. Call me immediately. I didn't. Another text. IAT department. Wade, systems are locked. Need your help, please. Then, legal. Mr. Calloway, we need to discuss your employment contract urgently. I made coffee, sat in my garage, watched the phone light up. At 4:15, Vic called. You watching this? He sounded amused. Getting texts. Turn on CNBC. I pulled up the stream. Financial news. The ticker. Ainsworth Global Security halts operations. System failure cited. They tried onboarding a new client this afternoon, Vic said. Federal contract, big one. System locked them out. Then they tried pushing a security update to existing clients. Same thing. Every function that requires your architecture, dead. How long before they fix it? They can't. Not without you. Even if they reverse engineer something, it'd take months. Maybe a year. He paused. They're hemorrhaging clients. 3 cancellations already. More coming. My phone rang. Clifford. Answer this one, Vic said. It'll be good, I answered. Wade. Clifford's voice was tight but controlled. Panic underneath. We need to talk. I'm listening. There's been a misunderstanding. About your termination. No misunderstanding. Landon was clear. Legacy mindset, not a culture fit. Silence. I could hear him grinding teeth. Landon made an error in judgment. We'd like to discuss bringing you back. Immediately. With what title? Your old position. Same salary. We can discuss adjustments. I sipped my coffee. That's generous, Clifford, but I'm not interested. Wade. Be reasonable. We can work this out. I let him wait. I am being reasonable. You fired me this morning. I've moved on. Moved on to what? His voice had an edge now. Wade, don't be stupid. You need this job. Your wife's insurance, your daughter's tuition. We both know you can't afford to be unemployed. There it was, the threat under the offer. Leverage. My family's needs. You're right, I said. I do need money. That's why I'm selling the platform. Dead silence. Selling what platform? The security architecture. The one running your entire company. Turns out I own it. Patents, code, licensing rights, all of it. Check your legal files. IP carve-out clause you signed 18 months ago. Paper rustling. Someone talking urgently in the background. Then Clifford again. Voice different. Scared. Wade. Let's not do anything hasty. We can negotiate. We are negotiating. I'm negotiating with Apex Cybersecurity. Meeting them tomorrow. Their preliminary offer is interesting. We'll match it. It's $1.1 billion, Clifford. You going to match that? Longer silence. You can't do this. I can. And I am. I stood, walked to my garage window. Kid across the street riding his bike. Normal Tuesday. Except my Tuesday just got interesting. You want to license my system? Fine. We can discuss terms, but it's going to cost you. How much? More than you want to pay, and a lot more than I'm worth apparently since you fired me this morning. I hung up. Phone immediately started ringing. I turned it off. Vic called the house line 30 minutes later. Legal just reached out. They want a meeting. Tomorrow. Bringing their entire team. Tell them I'm busy. You sure? They're going to threaten to sue. Let them try. You said the trust was ironclad. It is. But lawsuits are expensive, even ones you win. So are security platforms, Vic, especially ones that suddenly don't work. He laughed. Fair point. I'll tell them you're unavailable. Let them sweat. The next 48 hours were a blur. Apex Cybersecurity flew me to their headquarters. First class. Corner suite at a hotel nicer than anywhere Ainsworth ever sent me. Their CEO, Patricia Torres, met me herself. Mr. Calloway, we've been following your work for years. Call me Wade. Wade, let's talk about the future. We did, for 6 hours. Their offer was real. $1.1 billion for exclusive licensing rights, plus equity in their company. They'd pay immediately, hire me as chief security officer. And here's the part that mattered. We want to bring on 50 engineers, Patricia said. Your choice who? Any 50? Your choice. I want the team from Ainsworth Global, the ones who actually did the work, the ones Landon's about to lay off. Patricia didn't hesitate. Done. We shook hands. While I was in that meeting, Ainsworth Global was falling apart. Stock dropped 22% in 2 days. Clients bailing. Board called emergency meeting. And Landon, stupid Landon, posted on social media. Navigating challenges. Leadership means making tough calls. The future is bright. AI native forever. Comments destroyed him. Someone leaked the story. Former employee owns the tech. Company dead without him. Stock in free fall. By Friday, Clifford called again. Wade, please, let's meet in person. Why? Because I'm asking. 22 years, Wade. That has to count for something. It didn't, really, but I was curious. We met at a coffee shop, neutral ground. Clifford looked 10 years older than Monday morning. Landon wasn't with him. Where's your nephew? I asked, taking a leave of absence. Board's request. Ah. Clifford put his hands on the table. Formal. Defeated. What do you want, Wade? Nothing from you. The platform. We need it. Name your price. I sold it. Exclusive license to Apex. Signed this morning. His face went white. You can't have. We'll sue. You'll lose. But sure, try. I stood. One more thing. Apex is hiring. 50 engineers. I'm bringing over everyone from your team who actually knew what they were doing. So you might want to start recruiting. I left him sitting there. 3 weeks later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Area code was local. I answered. Wade Calloway? Speaking. This is Amanda Chen, Wall Street Journal. I'm doing a story on the Ainsworth Global situation. Do you have time for a few questions? Depends on the questions. Fair enough. She paused. Papers rustling. You were terminated on October 15th. 2 hours later, Ainsworth's entire security network went offline. 3 days later, you signed an exclusive licensing deal with their biggest competitor for $1.1 billion. That's quite a week. It was eventful. Mr. Calloway, sources tell me you'd been planning this for over a year, that you and former COO Victor Sullivan set up a trust specifically designed to trigger if you were fired. Is that accurate? I thought about hanging up. Then I thought about Landon's smirk, Clifford refusing to meet my eyes. 22 years thrown away because I chose my wife's hospital over their party. Off the record? I asked. On background. I won't quote you by name. Fine. Yes. Vic saw what was coming. Landon Ainsworth is incompetent. He was going to destroy that company. So we built a safety net. If they were stupid enough to fire me without cause, the IP was mine. Legal. Ironclad. 3 law firms reviewed it. And they never noticed? They signed it. Clifford himself. Buried in routine paperwork. People don't read what they sign when they trust you. I paused. That was their mistake. Some would call this revenge. Some would call it business. I spent 22 years building something valuable. They decided I was disposable. Turns out what I built was worth $1.1 billion and they were wrong. Fair point. More rustling. One last question. Ainsworth Global's stock is down 47%. They've laid off 200 people. The board is considering bankruptcy. Do you feel any responsibility for that? That stopped me. 200 people. Good people. Engineers who'd worked beside me for years. Families with mortgages and kids and bills. Yeah, I said quietly. I do. But I didn't destroy that company. Landon Ainsworth did, when he fired the person who built their entire security infrastructure over a party invitation, when he promoted buzzwords over competence, when his uncle let him. I looked out my garage window. I just stopped saving them from their own stupidity. And the 200 solars, laid off workers. Apex is hiring 50. I picked them myself, the best ones. As for the rest, they should have been worried the day Landon got promoted. Writing was on the wall. She was quiet for a moment. Thank you for your time, Mr. Calloway. Ms. Chen? One more thing. Off the record, completely off. I'm listening. When you write this story, make sure people understand something. I didn't do this for revenge. I did it because men like Clifford Ainsworth built empires on the backs of people like me, then threw us away when we became inconvenient. Someone needed to prove that doesn't work anymore. That competence matters. That you can't just erase 22 years because your nephew has hurt feelings. I'll make sure that comes through. She hung up. 2 days later, the article ran. Front page of the business section. The $940 million termination. How one security expert took down his former employer. It was fair, detailed, showed both sides. But the headline told the real story. My phone rang all day. Reporters, recruiters, other companies wanting to know if I had any more platforms to sell. I turned them all off except Vic's number. He called at noon. You read it? Yeah. How do you feel? Tired. Wade, listen to me. What you did, it's going to change things. People are going to think twice before they fire someone for bullshit reasons. Boards are going to ask harder questions about nepotism. You made an example. 200 people lost their jobs, Vic. 200 people were going to lose their jobs anyway. Landon was running that company into the ground. You just accelerated the timeline. He paused. And you saved 50 of them, the good ones. That counts. Does it? Yeah, Wade. It does. I hung up, sat in my garage, looked at the tools on my workbench, all organized, all in their place. Everything labeled, everything documented. Navy habits die hard. My daughter Claire called that evening. Dad, I saw the article. Yeah? Are you okay? That question. From my daughter. Was I okay? I'm okay, sweetheart. Mom said you did the right thing. Your mom said that? She said you spent 22 years building something, and they tried to take it from you and you didn't let them. She's proud of you. My throat tightened. How is she? Good. Treatments are going well. She wants to know when you're coming by for dinner. Tonight. Tell her tonight. I will. Dad? Yeah? I'm proud of you too, even if it's complicated. After she hung up, I sat there for a long time. Complicated, that was the right word. I'd won. $1.1 billion. New job, my team saved, my family's medical bills covered, Ainsworth Global on the ropes, Landon humiliated, Clifford dethroned. I'd won everything, so why did it feel like the victory cost more than I'd planned to pay? The next morning, I drove to Apex headquarters, my first official day as chief security officer. Corner office, view of the city, salary that made my old number look like pocket change. Patricia Torres met me at the door. Wade, welcome. The team's excited to have you. The 50 arrived yesterday. We're setting them up now. They want to see you. I followed her down the hall, through glass doors, into a conference room where 50 faces looked up, faces I recognized, engineers I'd worked with, mentored, built systems alongside. They stood when I walked in, applauded. I didn't know what to say. Thank you for bringing us with you, one of them said. Sarah, senior engineer, 15 years at Ainsworth. We thought we were done. You're not done, I said. We're just getting started. And for the first time since this whole thing began, since Landon handed me that termination letter, since Vic showed me the trust documents, since I signed the deal with Apex, I felt something shift. Not guilt, not triumph, something else. Purpose. All right, I said. Let's build something that actually matters. They sat, pulled out laptops, ready to work. And I realized something Vic had been trying to tell me all along. This wasn't about revenge. It was about what comes after. 6 months later, I was in my garage on a Saturday morning changing oil in my '68 Mustang, hands covered in grease, radio playing classic rock. Diane was inside making coffee. Life was good, quiet, normal. My work phone rang. I almost didn't answer. Weekends were sacred now. But the number was local and something made me pick up. Wade Calloway, Mr. Calloway. This is Richard Brennan. I'm on the board at Ainsworth Global, former board actually. We voted to dissolve the company last week. I wiped my hands on a rag. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Fair question. Yeah. Actually, I am. That's why I'm calling. Papers rustling. The bankruptcy trustee is selling assets. The Ainsworth name, the client list, the infrastructure, what's left of it. I'm part of a group trying to buy it, rebuild it. Do it right this time. Good luck. We want you involved. I stopped. Put down the oil filter. What? Not as an employee, as a partner. We're putting together a new ownership structure. No family dynasties, no nepotism, just people who know what they're doing. He paused. We need someone who understands security, someone clients trust, someone who won't let ego destroy what we build. You want me to help rebuild the company I just destroyed? You didn't destroy it, Wade. Landon did. Clifford did. We did, by letting them. His voice was tired. We're asking you to help build something better from the pieces. I looked at my Mustang. Half-finished oil change. Simple, mechanical, fixable. I have a job, I said. I know. Apex is treating you well? Very well. Then think of this as an investment opportunity. Limited partner, advisory role. You wouldn't have to leave Apex, just help us not make the same mistakes. What happened to Clifford? Retired. Quietly. He's done. And Landon? Gone. No severance, no recommendations. He's working at his father-in-law's firm now. Marketing position. Very junior. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. I'll think about it, I said. That's all we ask. Call me if you're interested. He hung up. I went back to my oil change, but my mind was elsewhere. That night, Diane and I sat on the back porch. She'd been doing better. Treatments were working. Color was back in her face. She looked at me the way she used to, before the illness, before the stress, before everything. You're thinking about it, she said. Thinking about what? The call. I saw your face when you came inside. 22 years of marriage. She could read me like documentation. They want me to help rebuild Ainsworth. Do you want to? I don't know. Part of me wants to say no. Let it die. It earned that. And the other part? I thought about the 200 people who lost their jobs, the 50 I'd saved, the 150 I hadn't. The other part remembers it wasn't always bad. Before Landon, before the politics, it was a good company, good people doing good work. Diane reached over, took my hand. You spent 22 years building something. They took it from you. You took it back. That's the story everyone knows. She squeezed. But maybe there's a different ending, where you use what you took back to build something better. That's very philosophical. I've had a lot of time to think lately. Hospital beds do that. I kissed her hand. I'll talk to Vic. See what he thinks. Vic will tell you to burn it all down. Probably. And then you'll do what you think is right anyway. She was right about that too. I called Vic on Monday. You're kidding, he said when I told him about the offer. I'm not. Wade. They destroyed you. You destroyed them back. That's the end of the story. Don't rewrite it. What if it's not about rewriting? What if it's about finishing? That's therapy talk. You been seeing someone? Diane suggested it. After everything. Vic was quiet for a moment. How is she? Better. Good, actually. Good. That's good. He sighed. Look, Wade, you want my advice? Walk away. You won. Don't give them a second chance. It's not them. Clifford's gone. Landon's gone. It's new people trying to fix what they broke. And you think you can fix it? I think I can help them not break it again. Another long silence. You're going to do this no matter what I say, aren't you? Probably. Then do it right. Take equity. Real equity. Make them put it in writing. No advisory bullshit. If you're rebuilding, you own a piece. Thanks, Vic. Don't thank me. I still think you're crazy. Maybe I was. 3 months later, I sat in a conference room with the new Ainsworth board. New name, Callaway Brennan Security. My name first. That was non-negotiable. 20% equity, seat on the board, final say on all technical decisions. They agreed to everything. We hired back 80 of the laid-off workers, the ones who wanted to come back, the ones who were good. We built new protocols, new culture, no family members in leadership, no ego-driven decisions, just competence. It took a year to stabilize, 2 years to grow, 3 years to become profitable again. By year 4, we were bigger than old Ainsworth ever was. Last week, a business school called. Wanted me to speak to their MBA students about corporate governance and ethical leadership. I almost said no, I don't do speeches. But then I thought about Landon, about entitled kids who think a title means they know everything, about how many more Landons are out there waiting to destroy what other people build. So I said yes. I stood in front of 200 students and told them the truth. I spent 22 years building something, got fired for choosing my wife over a party, took the company down for $940 million. Everyone calls it revenge. They leaned forward. This was the story they'd come for. But here's what they don't tell you. Revenge is easy. Burning something down takes 1 match. Building something that lasts, that takes 22 years, then another 22. I looked at their young faces. Some of them were probably future Landons. Most weren't. You're going to have power someday. Some of you already have it. Family money, connections, whatever. The question isn't whether you'll have power, it's what you'll do with it. I thought about Clifford, about Landon, about the choices they made. You can use power to protect your ego, or you can use it to build something that matters. Your choice. I sat down. No applause, just silence. Then one kid raised his hand. Mr. Callaway, if you could go back, would you do it differently? Would I? No, I said, but I'd finish it differently. And I did. That night I drove home to Diane, to my garage, to my Mustang that finally runs perfect after 3 years of weekend work. I'd won, then I'd rebuilt, then I'd won again, differently. Life's good when you know your worth, and make them pay it, and then use what you earned to build something better than what they destroyed. Simple as that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a vintage Mustang that needs new brake pads, a wife who wants dinner, and a company that runs itself because we built it right this time. 22 years taught me, do the work, document it, own it. Someone calls you obsolete? Prove them expensive, then prove them wrong. That's it.